Landscape is mystery with lack of understanding, because landscape is constantly changing with time, buried with culture and narratives, varied in scales, which make landscape difficult to represent. In this work, I aim to approach an outlet potential to look, analyze, and read a site, and discover a way to approach the representation of landscape, specifically the Red River floodway.
On October the 11th, 1968, ceremonies declared the Red River floodway officially open. The floodway is not just a master plan to save a city. Half Manitoba's population lives in Winnipeg, and in this city are the colleges, hospitals, factories, markets, distribution centers that help make this province great. And when you count the cost of flooding, count it in human misery and suffering, in flood fighting and rebuilding, you know why there's a Red River floodway.
Landscape seems to be far away before it comes clearly into people's eyes. The Red River floodway in Winnipeg is a landscape as an interface between visible and invisibles, city and rural areas, human and nature. It is like a landscape visible in memory maps, but invisible in people's eyes. It seems not be emergent. It seems to be far away from Winnipeg. The emergence of landscape is because of floods. Currently, there are no more concerns with floods in Winnipeg, and there are not many people visiting the Red River floodway, although it is a huge landscape in Winnipeg. It is a place in people's mind, but invisible in people's eyes. Many new immigrants do not know the floodway. Where is this place? How does it look like? Is it worth to visit? In order to help one recognize sight through design, French landscape practitioner and teacher Christopher Gray presents the four trace concept in landscape architecture, which serve as tools for the landscape investigation and design. These four traces are landing, grounding, finding, and founding. This way of looking at a place is to excavate the potential of a place as much as possible, and to use it for the future site design. These four traces designates different attitudes and actions for designers in the process of design. Landing is a specific moment when a designer still does not know anything about the place. Thus, landing only happens once in the site visit, and leads a particular state of mind to feel, perceive, and think. Grounding can be the revisit of the site. It can also be the scientific understanding and reading of the site without individual imaginations. In order to show a way of deeply understanding the place beyond just doing research, I must go to the place to perceive the Red River floodway and to build a relationship with the place, learn to be curious and passionate, strong and intensely connected with the surrounding environment. But how to build a relationship with the Red River floodway? The methods and tools at a designer's disposal are numberless, and the choices made escape the designer's preferences in the design. Everyone should paint, or take photographs, or make films, videos, music, or write. No matter what method the designer chooses, The importance is how the transmutation making the seeing visions collected with the thinkings of a designer. This is a process making the reality into the essence of a landscape. Also, this is a process helps the meaning of a designer emerging from visions. For myself, I choose to walk, take photo, and draw. Walking aside is more than glancing around. The way a designer walks aside is similar to a yoga practitioner who, during the practice of yoga, must relax as much as possible. The relaxation helps a designer sense a place well and forget himself. Thinking should not play a large part in the first working of a place. The designer, when working, is an enjoyer and a spectator. Walking in a strange landscape sometimes encounters fear, but the fear happens only in the beginning of an initial site visit. In order to avoid this and pay more attention on this site, taking photos during a site visit is a good choice. Photo taking is different from photography. It is not a purpose to mold an appearance of a place shown in the designer's eyes, but to record my first-hand impressions. This is a conversation between me and the floodway. I perceive the place, its materials, scales, and climates. I tried to love the place, the flood, the concrete, the huge canal, the soil, and everything in it. I talked to myself, having the memory of floodway in my mind, and draw. What I experienced and understood were represented in these drawings. I did not make all the drawings at the same time, but in a cyclical process. I draw, revisited, came back to draw, and revisited. There are many methods employed in the presentation of landscape. I choose to draw because this action helps me to transfer information from eyes to head to hand. It is important for a person and especially a designer to develop and utilize their own creative sources and their own unique memories in their experience and the creation of landscape architecture, which conveys a sensitivity to the place and the people who experience it. Drawing is the way I feel most comfortable when beginning to look at a place. It is an intimate experience. Many of the drawings record my senses, emotions, and the intellectual perceptions of a landscape. There are different layers of thinking within all of my drawings. They can be with or without color according to the exploration's purpose. Sometimes, the drawing is a way the designer talks to herself without any particular intent. This manner of drawing helps me a great deal in understanding the site and building up a relationship with the site before I begin any design activity. connection between myself and the floodway. I say it, I also feel it. But some questions are coming to my mind. What are the characteristics of this land? Why do floods happen? What's the soil like? How does water run? Where does the water come from? When were the historical occurrences of floods? What was the extent of the flood waters? How did people react to and deal with floods? What's the results of flood devastation? Winnipeg is a city located 60 miles upstream of Lake Winnipeg. The city of Winnipeg was established in the basin of a former Pleistocene glacial lake, Lake Agassiz, which covered much of South Manitoba. The Manitoba Gumbo is a glacial constraint lake that deposited on the shore and beds of glacial lakes. It was reported that the current floodway canal is constructed through a region on the land by some 16 to 65 feet of glacial lacustrine deposit, which are of very low permeability. Besides the quality of the soil, the former Pleistocene glacial lake also left Manitoba thousands of lakes and many rivers. Winnipeg is a very flat area in North America and slopes gradually northwards from North Dakota with a slight descent of only 6 inches per mile in its Manitoba section. Before the Red River floodway, Winnipeg was drained by the Red River, which flows northward in a twisting course to Lake Winnipeg. Winnipeg is located downstream of the Red River, which originates near Wahpeton, North Dakota, and flows northward to Winnipeg. The entire Red River visits extensive areas, over 48 square miles areas, are in the United States. During the 150 years prior to the construction of the Red River floodway, the site of present-day Winnipeg was subject to several flooding on a cyclic pattern. In looking at the history of the land, floods were more than simply natural disasters to Manitobans. They helped Manitobans to form a culture in fighting floods. In Chinese, the idiom said, "Much distress regenerate a nation." In Manitoba, the flood of 1950 brought Manitobans together. Some people have questioned whether Winnipeg was built in the right place, since it has experienced so many floods in the last century. After the flood in 1950, people decided to build the Red River floodway. While the location of Winnipeg have often been affected by floods, however, ancient people chose to settle down on this land for good reasons. First Nations lived on this land for centuries before Europeans began trading farm with them in 17th century. Permanent cities, towns, have been built on this land since then. Currently, the city of Winnipeg and its surrounding municipalities are having approximately 800,000 people living on the land. The map shows the age of Winnipeg census metropolitan area and the age of Winnipeg. Although the Red River floodway is not all included in the city of Winnipeg, but it is included in the area of Winnipeg CMA. As the city developed and regenerated in the future, the Red River floodway must play a significant role and cannot be neglected on the land. Natural resources form the uniqueness of Manitoba and gives a unique history and culture to its land. However, the land was gradually changed with time, and the natural resources have also changed in the last 150 years. The same as many other cities and countries in the world, besides the change of the natural resources, the relationship between nature and people has also changed. Cars to transport goods was no longer reveling on the land, and streetcars was built in downtown Winnipeg. High-rise buildings was gradually constructed in the 20th century. Currently, Winnipeg is coming to a new age, planned to be an international metropolis city in Canada and attracting more immigrants to come and live. From 1873 to 2015, the city of Winnipeg has radically spread and developed. New communities are getting closer to the Red River floodway. To be the only national historical site in the city of Winnipeg, how would people look at and live with it in the future becomes interesting. People survived from floods by the floodway. People saved money through the floodway, but as a huge man-made construction, how does floodway look like in the later in present? Does Winnipeg safe enough with the floodway after expansion? The 1997 flood exceeded the flow of 1950 flood by 50% and was the first inundation in 145 years to attain such magnitude. Flooding is uncertain, although the Red River floodway is always there. After the flood expansion, the city has 700 years level of flood protection. Currently, the city should be far away from the flood damage. How about the future? For now, the best way to think about the future of the floodway is to think about the relationship between the floodway and Winnipeg in the future. Winnipeg is expected to attract an average of more than 9,500 net migrants each year from 2012 to 2035. Because of the stable natural growth in Winnipeg, immigration has become an important factor for population growth. Therefore, the ability to attract new immigrants will continue to be important. How could Winnipeg attract people to come? Where are they going to live? For a long time, I thought that a landscape designer was a person who controlled the balance between people and nature in the design. But I realized that humans do not have the power to be able to control the balance of nature. There are many limitations in reading a landscape through just one aspect of design, time, for example. There are also unknowns in every site and location. Uncertainty plays a major role in nature. Designers must constantly seek a better understanding of the natural world. In beginning to understand the scale difference between the Earth and its human inhabitants, I constrained the role of the design of the site into a triangle of 3 points: site, people, nature. But I think that landscape is more than one site or one designer, and the landscape design is not simply represented by a triangle. Landscape is like a cloud floating around in the world. It can be huge or small, and it is always changing. Designers keep looking at the landscape and making notes of viewpoints in the cloud. There are relationship lines between nature and people in the cloud, and these lines are affecting the status of the cloud. The viewpoints made by designer may or may not occur on the relationship lines. However, designers know the existence of the landscape cloud system and keep observing and creating lines between viewpoints. A network is built slowly over time in an infinite variety of circumstances. That network creates better living conditions between humans and nature. Finding is the thing discovered as viewpoints. All the findings of the floodway are unique to the floodway. Founding is the line making connections between viewpoints, which gradually build a web into the landscape. In this work, I saw some points of the Red River floodway. This is a starting point. In the future, I'm looking for others to see more. The more we see, the more we are understood, and the better Winnipeg lives with the floodway. Therefore, the founding of the Red River floodway is focused on representing it and help others to see and enjoy it. According to the traditional East Asian lunisolar calendar, there are 24 divisions of a solar year. These solar terms reflect the change of seasons. Some embody the phenomena of climate, and some indicate the change of climate. Using the solar term as a viewpoint for people to look at the floodway, then every time after a point of transformation, the place introduces people a new way of looking or another new event or activity on the Red River floodway.
就这么看你，用所有的眼睛和所有的距离，就像封住了，风又起，淡淡地，慢慢地，轻轻地看你。呀呀，淡淡地，呀呀， 有的牙齿和所有的记忆，就像云去了，云又去，臭臭的，气气的，狠狠地吃你，臭臭的，呀呀，气气的，呀呀，狠狠地。